of the Tech Social. My name is Gabi. I'm a business analyst here at Cogent. We also have Edgar with us, which is our moderator and an associate director here, and Alfonso and Miguel, both tech leads. We will be talking about Chat-GPT 4. So basically, we're going to be covering the latest feature of Chat-GPT 4. As you may know now, this language model has been updated with several new capabilities that promise to revolutionize natural language processing. So basically, Chat-GPT 4 is now ready to take conversational AI to the next level. So that's what we are going to be covering today. Please feel free to ask any questions, anything that you want to share with us, if you have tried ChatGPT 4 already or not. And you can also leave comments on the chat section. I will be reading those. And Edgar, yeah, go ahead. You can take over.
Sure, Gabi, thank you. So I think today's subject, again, it's going to be pretty interesting. And we have talked about ChatGPT before, but definitely every day we get to know about new applications and new things that are happening around that space. I think it's like really, really interesting. I'll start, of course, by sharing my screen. And let me do that real quick. Yeah. And I believe we can start, of course, by seeing like the official page, right? Because they really have all of this information there. We'll skip this introduction video, but we want to talk about the different features and things that are there. I think personally that if we were seeing ChatGPT 3 and 3.5 as a revolutionary technology, then ChatGPT 4 definitely is making it easier to interact and getting more accurate answers. And it's been pretty fun, actually, this couple of weeks. I was hesitant to purchase the subscription. I was fine with the regular thing before. But as soon as I got this email 2 weeks back that this version was released, I was like, oh man, I really have to buy this and start seeing what it can do, right? So I think it's pretty exciting. Yeah, so we are seeing this introduction page, but before going there, Miguel, Alfonso, what has been your experience working with ChatGPT 4 so far?
Yeah, from my experience, I can say I'm in love with ChatGPT 4. This is crazy. This is now I'm feeling real superpowers using ChatGPT 4. So yeah, that's basically what I have to say right now. But I definitely think we can explore more during this session. So and I think we can also talk about this new phase, right, with the ChatGPT plugins. But yeah, we can start. That's basically my current situation with ChatGPT 4.
What about you, Alfonso? Did you get a chance to try it, maybe?
Yeah, I tried. Definitely, as they said in depending on the model that you are using, GPT-4 is more conscious about the context and what you are asking for. So I think is pretty cool to see how he can keep the context and you can actually interact in a very fluid way. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, this new release.
Yes, definitely. I agree. So here we can see some of the differences, right, that OpenAI is promoting for this new version. And the first one of them is about this enhanced creativity. So you can really see, responses that are, I would say, more complex and more detailed, to be more precise. And I was also reading somewhere that it really has to do with the main differences you could see, whenever you are exploring more complex scenarios. So they were saying like, you get to a certain extent or to a certain point with ChatGPT 3.5, and from there you start seeing that extra power for GPT-4, right? So I remember also that when they released it, they had this video introducing new features for developers, etc. And you could really see some other things like, for example, when you are not liking a response or you need more context about it or you want more precision, then you really start getting that out of it, right? So many people are saying also in the internet, I'm not sure if you guys have seen, but that they have written entire books using ChatGPT 4. And yeah, they are really, they are writers, but at the same time, they are taking advantage of the technology, right? And they are really capability. So those kind of things, I think really it's there and it's really present, right? So the next one is about this visual input. And I think this is also pretty interesting because originally you can only get text in, right? And pretty much interact like that. But with this new version, I know that you get to upload pictures in other media, and you can also interact with that in that new format. So have you guys seen any application with this? I think we saw one in the demo, but maybe you guys have seen others.
No, not at the moment. Yeah, actually,
No?
yeah, just
Okay. Yeah, no worries. I wanted to say that because in the developer demo, and maybe I can present that video in a second, they were passing ChatGPT some kind of a sketch, right? And it was literally it was a napkin, and they drew on it, and then they asked ChatGPT to convert that napkin into a functional website, right?
oh yeah, I saw it.
And yeah. So that's like one of the famous initial things that you got to see, and all of that is enabled by these new input capabilities, right? I was also seeing people asking about scenarios in the images. For example, there was this scene from the Up movie from Pixar, and you see that there's this house, and then you have the globes above and everything. Then you can put that image into the GPT chat and then ask what would happen if I put the globes, right? For example, and then it can come back with answers from the picture. So I think that's pretty cool, and for sure there would be many applications to that later. And I believe something, as Alfonso was saying, that is really, really important is the amount of information that you can put in now. It was limited before. I think it was something about 4,000 tokens or something. And right now they are advertising these 25K words that you can introduce. So that definitely means a lot of things, right? One clear application that I'm seeing is you can pass, like lots of information at once and then ask about it. So for example, you can upload entire documents, or as we were seeing the other day, you can upload information from books, and there are plenty of use cases for that. For example, the other day I was making a demo for one friend of mine to see if they were interested in one project. And basically, we pass technical information from some, paint, right? And then we ask questions to the chat for it to act as a support person. And then we were like, so my wall is not really keeping the paint on. So what might be wrong, right? And then based on the information, the chat replied like, you should make sure to have a clean surface and to apply the paint in this way, etc. So you really get that extra information. And for example, we also added some videos that were pointing to some user manuals, etc. In like ways to work with this particular paint. And whenever the user asked, or as a extended explanation, the chat was also able to reply with these video links, so you can go and click and see the videos, etc. So I think that's also pretty impressive. So yeah, that's, I believe, great thing to have here, like this extended context. And
so one small question for the GPT-4. There's no and there is no option to use it for free. It's always with that subscription.
Mm-hmm. Well, as far as I know, for now, it is like a feature, like a glance that they are giving to the paid subscriptors, right? Although it's not clear if eventually it will again be the same model where you can enter and use it for free with some limitations. Yeah, but at this point, it's a bit like that. You have to pay for the subscription, and then you start seeing these kind of updates and new things that they are promoting.
And is it monthly?
Yes, correct. It's monthly. I believe the rate is $20. $20, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. We will see some demos today, right? Some of the things that we have made. And before doing that, I just wanted to go over some other things that they have here, like these advanced reasoning capabilities, right? So sometimes previously, people used to put some information in and they were like, what would happen if, and then we have these tricky scenarios, right? That normally you need some more extra reasoning to get it right. And many times you would see Chat-GPT, like responding random things and things that we wouldn't consider correct. And right now, many of those things have been actually fixed improved more than fixed. So you can get that extra reasoning by the time that you are asking for certain scenarios, as we can see here in the example, right? So that's something else that they are promoting, and some other advantages that we are seeing while using this new model. What else? Well, here they are talking about these exams in the way that without any further improvements, or you got this way to customize or fine-tune the models before, right? Where you pass some information, then based on that, you use the model in kind of give it context or extra context about a certain topic, and then you can use it to solve particular tasks. So in this case, what they are saying is that they actually improved the way in which the general model, without any fine-tuning, is able to respond, in this case, to these exams, and how it really improved in terms of how well it is doing it, right? So you can see, for example, this 10 percentile that is basically like very low in terms of how well the tool responded for the bar exam. And now with GPT-4, you are seeing 90 percentile, right? That's really, really high. And same here for this biology Olympiad. So it really, you can say it is giving smarter responses measured this way, right? So it's a bit like that. And then they also talk about how they use the feedback that and all the use that everyone has been, doing while working on the initial stages, and that is like also for the past model. Every question, not every, but many of them, they took that feedback and then they started improving this version with that. They also mentioned that there was more human interaction and more, like correction of the answers, and in general that they also improved this safety, and so it's precisely safer to use, right, in general. So they are saying all of these things that they improve in the model. And then we get to the applications, right? Like how different partners starting working with the tool even before it went live for everyone, and the kinds of things that they managed to achieve, right? In particular, I was like really eager to know about this Duolingo application, because I'm really, eager to learn languages. And here in particular, what they are describing is a way for you to have like this mentor, and that it can really respond with the context of what you are trying to say and how you are trying to say it, right? So way above the standard Duolingo method that was like learning some grammar and some words and, like very basic round knowledge of a language. And with this, then you actually get to practice and interact, in this case with the AI. So I think here's a lot of potential to really change how we learn as humans, as a society, because up to this point, you really needed to go to one particular expert or with a teacher and, like have their input on whatever you were creating. And right now, I'm not saying that that's no longer needed. I mean, there's always room for that experience and that knowledge that we have created from many sources, and that's what makes it rich. But at the same time, you get this mentor, right, that can really focus on what you are doing and really provide feedback. And it is not perfect, but most of the feedback will be correct with this new version. So you can really establish a very good base, in this case, learning languages, but it applies pretty much to everything. And we will see that in the examples. So definitely, I think this is revolutionary for me. And I'm not sure, guys, Miguel, Alfonso, did you guys see any of these use cases, or have you seen others like that that you want to share?
Miguel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, obviously we have this new model, right, with this new potential. Also, I think the biggest scenario there will be through these use cases connected with this new tool, with this new feature called Chat-GPT plugins. So that combination will be amazing. Before proceeding with the plugins, I would like to share with you an experience I had this last Saturday. I am working in a React JS project. So right now we have specific issues with browsers. So I spent 5 hours just chatting with ChatGPT, but the communication was a bit different with the previous versions, because for that moment, I started to feel like I was chatting with a real person, the real React developer, because the dynamic was to start with the idea. Okay, so ChatGPT 4 generated the first draft of the current requirement. Mm-hmm. But at that moment, I started to copy and paste the code. Then I was testing the code and the scenarios. And then if I identified a specific issue or something, and then again, I copied and pasted to the ChatGPT 4. And I started to create a React application with the AI. It's like basically, okay, I identified this issue. Please could you please fix this because that option is deprecated? And ChatGPT-4 was saying, okay, yeah, you're right. Let me now translate it, or let me now use the new version of that library. So it was very, very crazy because I was feeling direct collaboration with a different developer. So that was basically amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, it's curious that you say that because I just had a similar experience as well, right? And that's something I wanted to show today. So here's one application that we are working with. This is like one internal application that we are making. And the whole idea of this is we found that it was somehow difficult for some developers to log their hours, right? It's personally, I find that as a very boring task, but I also understand the reason behind that, right? That on the other side, management also need some information about how we are spending our time, and so we can improve in that. So yeah, so it's been, like a pretty boring activity for quite some time. And we conducted this design thinking workshop, and then we were talking to different people and trying to get to a solution that we could provide so it's easier to log your time, right? So based on that workshop, we came up with this idea that we wanted to prototype and see how it feels, etc. And it was just as you described. So I thought, okay, so this is a application that might not be that complex. And I personally, I learned Flutter a long time ago, so and didn't practice it. So I kind of forget about it, right? So my approach was I started learning from a course, but not that much. It was like 2 chapters only. And then for me to understand the syntax more than actually creating things, right?
Got it.
And from there, I went to the chat, and actually I should have that conversation here somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, maybe I will need to find it, but it was pretty much as you described. Yeah, I think it's this one. So what happened here was I went there and I explained my original idea, like I want to do this, right? And as you can see, it's pretty lengthy because I also spend hours here. But initially it was like, I want to do this and I want to do that. I had a previous conversation before this one, and the chat provided a couple of different options. But then I wasn't satisfied with the way the components were working, or the widgets, right? Because I wanted to have some capabilities like dragging and like moving around the tasks. Sorry, I didn't refresh this browser for some time. But I wanted to have that those capabilities like inbuilt, and with the options that were there, then it wasn't really happening, right? So for example, I started this particular chat saying, you know what, I want to do this application, but I want to use this particular widget, right? That means this widget was this particular calendar view that we have here. And from there, I also said things like, so I want to divide the screen, and I want to have like 2 pulls with buttons. So I want to click those and then add one task here, right? And from there, that was like the base. And I really started, like fine tuning and asking for different things and trying to improve certain things. I also went into some errors because mainly, this drag and drop functionality along with this resizing, that was not there 1 year ago. That is when this ChatGPT had this caught in the input, right? So what I did was, I understand that you don't know this, but here's the documentation, right? So I passed the documentation here exactly. Like, you know what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here, see, this is like the documentation for that, and now help me
Mhm.
implement it. And then it took that information and actually put it here in the code. So
Awesome.
these results that you are seeing here, this is, I could say, almost everything came from the chat, like 90%. And as you can see, it's fully functional. Here you can select like a Jira ticket, and then you can say, yeah, I'm coding. And then it is placing that at the time of the day as we are right now. And then you can, like move it around or, do stuff like that. And it was really impressive. And I was, like having a shower in the morning, and I was like, so how good is it really? If I had to classify the skills, right, in the level of interaction that I have to give so to get to this particular result. So I was thinking something like, maybe I would classify this as a junior developer with some skills of a mid developer already, right? Because it has, still some errors and still some things that are not really there, but like giving some instructions and use this instead of doing that, etc. Then it actually comes up with a solution, right? That for sure you can take and enhance later. But if I had to situate the skills, I would say something like that, like somewhere between junior and a mid developer that
Yeah,
is
correct.
actually working with you, right? Like daily as you want. Yeah, I mean, that's super cool.
Yeah, but also quicker, right? But a
Yeah,
human. So
yeah.
amazing.
I think most of the time because it doesn't really have to search for things, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes it's like, normally if I were coding, it would be like, how should I do that? And then you start thinking, and then it's like, oh, maybe like this, and then you go to the internet, and you look for certain components to see if they exist or no, and if they don't, how would you like overcome that? And you don't have that here. You ask, and then you get the responses sort of immediately. So that's cool. And at the same time, it's also true what you were saying about these plugins. So we should also talk about that. Up to this point, ChatGPT has acted as an isolated technology, right? That means the knowledge it had, and that's pretty much about it. And then these guys came up with this idea of having these plugins that I understand are like apps for your phone, right?
Yeah. Alfonso, you want to talk about it? Plugins?
No, I haven't tried any plugin, and actually I didn't read too much about it.
No worries.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, no, please, Miguel, go ahead.
Yeah, basically, this is a new update, right? We have this new feature. So basically, those plugins will allow the users to integrate ChatGPT with any platform. So that will be the new big store, right? Instead of building things for Google Play or App Store,
Okay. Now you
basically
will
the whole
build a
market will create.
plugin in ChatGPT.
I'm not sure.
Well,
Yeah, we
in
can see.
OpenAI.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the biggest, the new big bet here, because everybody will try to create a plugin.
Yes, correct. So one of these plugins, actually, I was reading because we personally I don't have access yet, right?
Yeah,
But one
no,
of these
nobody. Yeah.
plugins,
We're in a waiting list.
exactly, will allow ChatGPT to go to the internet, right? So it's opening that channel that I believe was missing, and now it will
finally,
happen.
ChatGPT will get access to the internet real time. You're gonna get information.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I believe that's a feature that we were missing, and that's going to be there. And as you can see, and as Miguel was saying, right, we have some logos here from different companies that we may know. So, for example, here Expedia, so you can plan your trips. And I'm not sure what has been your experience while trying to go on holiday, but definitely trying to plan a trip by yourself, it's like exhausting. I mean, it's like you have to think about everything, like where are you staying, at what time you are, like departing, when you will be arriving, what would be the connections, where you will be having lunch. And sometimes it's like lots of work for something that you want to be, more of a leisure activity, right? You really want to enjoy your vacation, but unless up to this point, unless you hired someone to do that work for you, then you have to go and do it. So it's really taking time, and it's like really trying to assemble all the pieces together. And if any of these fail, then it's a big problem for you, especially if you're at the place and you don't have where to sleep that night or something. So I'm not speaking about my personal experience, or I'm not sure, but but it's a bit like that. So for example, here with this plugin, what they are saying is, yeah, so you would get to plan your trips while using ChatGPT, right? And I believe that's a use case that that we wanted to see, or personally, I wanted something to take that away from me and just make it happen. Yeah. So I know, Miguel, you are going on vacation soon. How was your experience?
Yeah.
Did you try
especially
Expedia?
Yeah, I have tried actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, that one, the Instacart, Edgar. When you're chatting with ChatGPT-4 and you say, please give me a diet, okay? And split every day with a specific nutrition plan, okay? But then suddenly you can also ask for the ingredients, everything, right? What you need to create, to cook. So once you are there, then you can call this one, the Instacart, and ChatGPT will order what you need based on that, on those recommendations directly to Instacart. So suddenly you're gonna get that grocery in your house. Like, oh, that's crazy. Just started a conversation with ChatGPT.
Yes.
So those kind of integrations we're gonna have right now. It's amazing. That's crazy.
Yes, definitely. It's gonna change the way that we are doing things. I something that I feel we are lacking here is like reducing the friction to interact with the technology, right? So I'm pretty sure that there must be something on its way already, where we don't have to go and type, right? But rather talk to it. So I mean, some experience similar to Alexa, for example, or Google Home. And I believe, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I would be surprised if they are not already working on it. But for example, as you were saying, like in this case, at this point, you have to go into your computer and type like, I want to follow this diet and please order the ingredients for me or something. So that's like the current state of the art of this. But eventually, I think it could be just easier, to speak to it, right? Like, I know I'll get hungry in a couple of hours and I need to stick to my diet. So could you please order the ingredients for me to start cooking?
I think,
right?
Edgar, this is Thiru.
Hey, Thiru, please.
Yeah, I think that will also come because I see the improvement where currently they are also allowing images as inputs to get the results. So definitely that will also be in place soon. And we can see just like ChatGPT working as Alexa, asking questions with voice commands or voice.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe OpenAI will create their own hardware because now AWS has his own model of AI, and maybe it's not quite simple to open to another different model, right? So
yes, that's true.
We will know.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe we get another fancy device, or maybe we can even get an app on the phone and start talking to it, right?
Or maybe these companies like Bose or Harman Kardon, that they already have this kind of hardware, this kind of devices. Instead of using the Alexa service, maybe they will create, or OpenAI will create a service to interact with them. So there could be a very possibilities in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's going to be in the near future, right? I don't see any particular restriction why we couldn't get it. They even have this API, right, that they are opening. I mean, OpenAI, where you can translate voice to text. So
yeah, and there are another services that can convert the text to speech or to voice. So we can manage, or we can integrate different tools in order to achieve one application, right?
Right, completely right.
Yeah,
Edgar,
actually,
question regarding the plugins, these plugins.
yeah.
Is it going to be available only for ChatGPT 4 users? So you need to get the subscription to be able to use these plugins?
No,
Okay,
I don't think so, because Expedia is paying for the API, right? So you, as a user, you will use the Expedia plugin and not really, you are not using ChatGPT directly.
Okay. Okay. And when are they planning to like give this to people?
I think there's no clear date yet, because they have this wait list as such. So you have to, join the wait list.
Actually, the GPT-4 API is already not released.
Yeah, we're in waiting list. Yeah.
They're just a wait list, and they haven't say when they are going to release the API for GPT-4.
Beta.
Yeah. But then in the other side, we have this open letter to stop training AI models, right? So could be quite interesting what's gonna happen with the AI space, because actually, for example, Elon Musk, that is one of the investors in OpenAI, have signed that letter. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this.
Yeah, that was pretty famous. I think it just happened yesterday or so.
Yeah,
and then yeah, they were, asking to stop the advance on the AI field for some time.
What scientists are telling is that they need to really validate the bad ways that AI could do in the future. So because I think there are a different models more powerful than ChatGPT, that they are get trained that kind of models. So what they are telling is that they need really to know the consequences of using AI in this massive way.
Right. Okay, before we continue, I think, I'm not sure, Tiro, you wanted to contribute with something?
Yeah, I just wanted to just look at one of the research paper in the OpenAI platform, where they were already working on Whisper, which is the speech input. I think it is on their way. Still, they are researching on the input. Currently, they call it as Whisper, and they also already developed the architecture for the speech recognition and doing that model as well. Just want to share that.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So what I know about Whisper, and I think what it is making it special, is the cost of using it, like the cost of using the API. Because compared to other models, I've been researching on that also for quite some time. And I was seeing if there were any options but the cost it was just simply too high, right? For example, if we talk about AWS, you would quickly end up with invoices of thousands of dollars just to transcribe some hours of audio to text. And I believe definitely here that they are providing this option, but now it's going to be way cheaper. So it's going to really open another space to start creating new applications, right? So yeah, I mean, I understand all of these concerns, and at the same time, I think, speaking about this letter again, right? I think it's a bit arbitrary, because why stopping at ChatGPT 4 and not at ChatGPT 3, right? Or 5? I mean, like, what was really the reason behind it, and why stop? Asking people to stop now. So I think for sure there are no clear answers, or we are really, like, moving through the mist here, trying to figure out what's going to happen next. I understand the concerns, because personally I also have had, and most probably not had any concerns about AI, from stealing my job to Terminator and back to it's okay, just the progress. So yeah, I mean, many things will happen, and it's great that we are living this age, I think, where all of these exciting things are happening, right? So let's see what happens next. Yeah, so I wanted to show some other use cases of the ways that we are using ChatGPT 4. But before going there, Miguel, Alfonso, would you like to showcase anything, maybe?
Oh,
Not to showcase, but
so sorry.
yeah,
Also, so official plugin provided by OpenAI that basically will be able to read any data you have, and you can ask directly to OpenAI about that specific information. So, for example, you have a big CSV file, okay, and there you have orders, okay, every order in the company in a CSV file. So you can just drag and drop the CSV file, and then you can start asking about that. Like, give me the 10 top billings you're going to get automatically. And then, okay, give me the SQL. You're going to get that information. So they will create this kind of dashboard. So you can say, okay, for this CSV, I need a dashboard with this table, with these charts, and you're going to get that information, a kind of assistant to to handle with that data. So that's also crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess the only concerns that there might be, right, is that in the end you are sharing information.
Yeah, that's also a big concern.
Yeah, and especially for companies, right? So exploring on that side, I've seen that there are now models that are promoting that are similar to ChatGPT, but that can be installed like on-prem behind a firewall, etc. So
ChatGPT said they have right now red teams trying to get those gaps, the security issues. But obviously, if there's a red team trying to break something, probably we're gonna have many teams around the world trying to do the same.
Exactly.
So that also will be a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I guess, especially for companies, right? They would get to decide, we want this information to be there, and we are okay with it. Like, for example, speaking about products, when you want to showcase your products, and then you want people to ask about them and get more information, and like all their questions solved before they purchase, then I think it would be fine just to release that information since it's already open. But of course, for financials and other things, for sure there will start to be also some alternatives, right? That you can keep on your side, like on-prem or something. And as usual, I think there will always be options for everyone. So hybrid models, cloud completely, on-prem. So
I hope so.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's see. All right. So one use case that I was
Okay.
thinking about today was what about purchasing new computers, right? And this could apply pretty much for everything, not only computers, but this is the example that I got. So I was thinking, yeah, so what about buying a new MacBook Pro, right? Then I thought, let's go to Apple and let's see one particular, computer. Then let's take all the information that we have there. So that's exactly what I did. I just literally came here, copied everything, and then I passed that information to the chat.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, like that, like straight.
Plain text.
Yeah, and then I was saying, like, giving this promotional info about MacBook Pro and technical comparison of other Macs. Should I buy one if I'm an engineering student, right? Just, and there's a typo there, but anyway. And then, as you can see, there's like a bunch of information directly, and then you get your response, right? So yeah, it might be a good choice for you, and you would have these performance enhancements, and you have this high resolution display. So, and then you also get this disclaimer like, you may consider to buy it, but maybe you also want to see these other options, right? Or these other things. But I've been in that position myself, like many times. Like I'm hesitant, like I have one particular need, and then I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to buy something or not, right? And sometimes it's like, I just want to buy it, and then you go and buy it, and then it gets stored, quite for some long time in your closet or something. So trying to avoid that, this is something that I believe you can start doing, like as soon as you want, and then get recommendations, right? So not sure if that happened to you guys, that you have one family member, and since we are in tech, then they just come and say, you know what, I want a new tablet or a new computer for my child, and what should I buy and why? And so all of that information you can actually start getting from there, and start getting like these guides, right? So I think that's pretty cool use case. Another use case that I thought it was like pretty cool, and it was pretty similar, was I normally like to read this particular magazine, and they have these articles online and everything. And it talks about business, right? And the way that you can improve your company and improve yourself, be more professional, etc. So again, sometimes it's like, yeah, I can see the huge article here, 21 minutes if I were listening to it. But what if I'm not really keen to read it right now? I'm maybe tired after a long day at work, but still want to improve. So what I did was, again, like copy and paste the whole thing, and then take it back here and start asking questions, right? So, of course, like the summary and everything, you start getting that. And then sometimes I know that as human, we learn better while using storytelling, right? So instead of just seeing the plain information extracted, why don't you, ChatGPT, tell me a story where you are applying that knowledge and show me, right? What I should be doing from it. So here's the story, and then there's this person that has this problem, and then they interact with the CEO, and then you get like this same information applied to a real, well, fictional, but somewhat real use case, if we can say so, right? So yeah, and then of course you can dig in and like, okay, yeah, I understand like the sum up, and then I get the user story or the use case, and then what if you tell me more about these 4 stances that is part of the article, right? Like, why don't we dig in the concept? Yeah, and then you start also getting information about it, right? So I believe that's why this thing is gonna revolutionize the way that we are learning, because you can pretty much have your own tutor or like coach for pretty much everything, right? And I can see that this expanding, for example, when you can start getting your images in or even videos, and then you can start asking questions. So you don't have to stop by the time that you don't know how to do something. And maybe most of the time you would go back to someone and like ask for some coaching or some pieces of advice, and now you can come here directly no matter the subject, and you can start getting tips, right, and information, so you don't stop your learning. So I think that's like really cool. Something else, another use case that I also found, I was in the middle of a meeting, and then we were talking about storing attributes of information from people, right? That's what the project was about, like storing information and then understanding more from that information there. And it was like, okay, yeah, so you may get some information for someone, but that might be a few kilobytes of information. But what if you really want to store many things, right? Like really trying to describe a person. So how much information would that be? So I was, and I was asking like, all right, what would be the implications of that, right? And how much store space we would need, and like what would that look like in the future? So as you can see here, I just came in and I asked like, what's in here, right? What you can say about it? Not really that accurate for sure, but at least you get an idea. And from there, you can start also, taking that and start acting on it, right? Like, I'm seeing these downsides, or I'm seeing these concerns, or we can do that, or, you can really start getting this kind of information kind of in real time while you are in a meeting. And if you don't know what's coming next, then you can get some ideas like immediately, right? And start applying them. So I really had fun with these use cases. So you start getting, more information, solving issues and bugs for sure. We had, again, one issue, and we were using some headers in one request, and it was not working. And then I started Googling it, and then it was like no clear answer. And it was like, I really need to know this now. So I came here and I asked, right? So we are using this mode, and why I cannot get the information in. And then I got to know, yeah, you can do that, but it's not really gonna suit your use case, right? And then I was like, okay, so what's the purpose of that then? And then I got also the answers for that, right? So it was pretty exciting, that part. And you can use it for pretty much everything. So for example, here, I was like always trying to learn German. I think it's a never-ending story with me. But here I tried with some lists that you won't find on the internet. I've been looking for those, like forever. And then it was quite easy. Like, I want to use some verbs and some prepositions with them, and I want a list that I can, study whenever I have some time. So I got that list here, and you can, enhance it, right? So that's pretty cool. I mean, you really get this opportunity to learn a lot, and you kind of remove that cap on the knowledge that you can get and how far you want to go, right? So, I mean, these are just simple use cases. Even, make some cuisine, and I was like, I want to eat something, but but I don't know what to do. And then I was like, yeah, surprise me if you guys saw that movie. And then it came up with some recipe for a chocolate tart, all right, ratatouille inspired. So so there's a ton of things to do, and I think you really never get bored about using it, at least for now. So
Yeah,
that's what I have.
I saw this guy that I follow on YouTube, and he's a musician. He's like very good, and he asked Chat-GPT to create a song based on a band that he likes, like, and obviously ChatGPT took all the information from that band, like about lyrics and about the key that the song was meant to be, and also the tempo, and ChatGPT gave him a song with the chords, tempo, and everything, and he recorded it in the style of the band that he liked it. And yeah, and he made the whole song based on whatever ChatGPT told him. So you can really use it for whatever, anything that you want to learn or know. Yeah, it knows.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
All right.
you don't even have to play instruments, right? You can just get the information and do it. So
Right.
that's,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's time to wrap this up. If anyone has a question, otherwise we can say goodbye. Yeah, so thanks for joining. Thiru also gave us good insights as well, so thank you, Thiru. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining, Edgar, Miguel, or Alfonso, if you want to say anything else.
No, just say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
from my side,
just
keep
one
exploring.
more note. A couple of days ago, Binance create a new application called Picasso, like Picasso but with P.
Okay.
That creates NFT using AI. So that's quite interesting also.
Nice. Yeah, so maybe we can talk about that next week for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. All
Okay.
right. Yeah. Thank you, Gabby.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
everyone.
everyone. See you all next week.